Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny and we live and garden here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today I'm really excited because I've got my indoor seed starting set up. I am ready now to start some seeds inside. So come with me and I will share with you how I set myself up this year, 2022, for indoor seed starting. Last year, I did indoor seed starting for the first time in a really long time. And to do it, I used materials that I already had in the basement. We live in an almost 100-year-old home. One of the previous homeowners had been a woodworker, and he set this basement up with lots and lots of shop lights and lots of power outlets. And so my setup last year was folding tables with shop lights hanging down from floor joists on chains. And that worked okay. The biggest downside was that it took up a lot of space. In my basement, I have tons and tons of boxes and accumulation of 35 years of marriage here, and it's a big basement, but it's a full basement. And I didn't really have room last year to do what I did. I did it anyway, but it was pretty burdensome on the use of our basement during the times when I had those tables set up. So this year I asked my husband if we could do a different method, and I actually anticipated buying some shelving for setting up this year, but we ended up cleaning off one of the shelving units that we already had and then moving it and setting it up in this space behind me. I actually didn't spend any money this year to set up things either, so that's been really good. That's not quite true. Last year I purchased a few new shop lights because some of the old ones their electrical connections were a little iffy here and there. The cords on them still have cloth wrapped cords with no polarized plugs. And so I thought, you know what, if I'm going to be moving these around and using them and making stronger use out of them than normal, maybe I should invest in something a little bit newer than these who knows how old shop lights that are here. The person who put these shop lights in moved in 1973, moved out in 2005, and so it could be that they're only 15 years old. I think it's more likely that they're 40 years old, given the kind of cord that they have on them. So the only money that I've spent to set up this seed starting system is a few new shop lights that I purchased last year. This year, I haven't purchased anything to set this up. So let me share with you how this is going. Just to give you a little bit of an orientation how our basement is set up, when you come down the stairs, you're faced with our beginnings of our piles of cardboard. You turn left, this area is under our living room. And there's our cardboard pile. It needs to be broken down. Storage this used to be in the area where my seed starting stuff is now. Our mechanicals, our water is right here. And then we have a little bathroom in here. I never use this. My husband does, but I think it's too creepy spidery, so I never use that toilet. Anyway, so we have this little storage area. This is our utility area, our gas meter, and, paint from the last who knows how long. And then, here's the stairs. We came down. This is right under the front stairs, upstairs also. If you turned right, there's an old refrigerator we keep sodas and stuff in. And then this area underneath these beams and behind these pillars, this is all storage. That's under the kitchen, and this is under the dining room. Right now we're under the foyer. So over here is where I had my stuff set up last year on these two folding tables, and they were just like right here in the middle of the floor. And as you can see, our floor is not very open. There's not much space here. That's our tool area. Here's our old kitchen table that we haven't done anything with yet. And there's the other shelving unit that matches the one that I took over. And the one that I took over used to be standing right there. So we've just got, years and years of accumulation of stuff in this basement. It's just crazy full. That's all Christmas decorating supplies. And in fact, this is the latest year I've ever gone with having my Christmas decorations still up. We didn't finish taking down Christmas until February 3rd. I have never gone into February before. I don't think I've ever gone past like Martin Luther King weekend with my Christmas decorations upstairs. But this year I was enjoying them. And then I just got lazy and I just didn't want to do the work. And because it took 2 days to get it all taken down and packed up and put away. So, but I told myself I was not allowed to set up my seed starting stuff in the basement until I got Christmas all put away because of the mess that it makes and how much room it takes up in our basement. So we still have to organize the remains of moving that shelving system from over there. I think it'll get a little bit better. We'll do some cleanup. We'll do some throwing away, some donating, some storing, etc. But there's the back of my seed starting area. This is the back of an old kitchen cabinet that previous owners had used as tool storage. So anyway, this shelving unit is 4 feet wide, 2 feet deep, and looks like it's 6 feet, little more than 6 feet tall. I'm 5'4", so is that 6 feet? It's probably 6 feet tall. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 interior shelves and then the top shelf. Our ceiling on the basement is only about 6 inches from the top of this shelf, so I'm just using that for storage. I won't be starting any seeds up there. I do have 1, 2, 3, 4 4x2 shelves that I'll be able to start seeds on. So far, I've put lights into 2 of these shelves. Because of the size of the shelves, I'll be able to put 4 10x20 seedling trays across here on both of these. So this already has room to start 8 trays of seedlings. As I said, the shelving unit is one we already had. We have another one of them over in another section. It's metal and it doesn't use any screws to put together. So all you have to do is slide the shelving pieces into the slots here wherever you want. They're fully adjustable. They have particle board shelves, which are, what is that, 1/2 inch thick. And so that's the shelving unit. I don't remember when we bought them or where. I will do a search online and see if I can find exactly this shelf. But there are so many storage shelving systems available at your local home improvement store. Pretty much any of them will work. I like the fact that this is 4 feet long and 2 feet wide because of the amount of trays I'll be able to put on here. But whatever you can afford and whatever your space allows, that's what you should do. The lights that I'm using all have LED lights in them, and I just bought the light bulbs at the hardware store or the home improvement store. I just looked for a 4 foot long T8 or T12 LED bulb, and that's what I bought. They are not special fancy grow lights of any kind. I did try to get a wide spectrum of light coming out of them instead of a specific spectrum. So I'm not an expert on grow lights or anything. This is just what I've done. So your mileage may vary. So these are shop lights. Each of these are the 2 that I bought last year. Each of them have 2 of the skinny bulbs, the 1 inch diameter bulbs. And I've hung them from chains on this shelving unit. I have an S hook that comes down from the top of the shelf above, and then chain, and then another S hook that connects onto the light itself. So to get full coverage of light across here, I've put these are centered on the center of a half of the shelf. So 6 inches from the edge is the center of the light. 6 inches from that edge is the center of the light. And the reason I did this is I wanted to make sure that the light is evenly distributed across the shelving units. I've taken a little bit of time to string the cords up and across, and then when you try to do something, they don't want to cooperate with you. So the lights are strung up and across here, and then I zip tied them in bunches onto the side of the shelving unit so that they don't just look like a mangled, tangled mess. I have one power strip that has 6 grounded plugs in it, and it goes to a timer, and then the timer goes into the outlet on the wall. Now, because all of the lights I'm using are LED, they won't draw a ton of amperage, and so this is totally fine to have. Actually, I have 2, 4, 6, 8 LED light bulbs drawing power here, and that's totally within the power limits of both the outlet and the power strip. Because of the construction of the shelving system, I wasn't able to just simply put the S hook between the wood and the metal. The wood is too big to allow me to do that. So what I did was I simply drilled some holes in the wood and I set the S hook down into them. These are so secure. I really like this setup. I put a link of chain. I think I have 6 links on each of these, and then an S-hook to connect to the light. And so I can raise and lower the light. So now all I have to do is go to the other side of the light and do the same thing on the other end, and then they will lay level. I made the chain length sufficient so that when it hangs at its lowest spot, it's about 4 or 5 inches off of the shelf below. And with the height of a seedling tray, that would give it about 1 inch or 1.5 inches above the seedlings when they very first emerge, to keep that light really low on them. And then as they grow, I'll just be able to lift up the light and put it on the next chain up, and then a little while later do the same thing, and eventually I'll be able to hopefully have it all the way up at the top with nice big strong seedlings up there. When I was tying up the wires, I had to make sure that I left slack so that when these are on their lowest setting, they weren't pulling too tight. So when it's on its lowest setting, it's nice and taut across there, but not pulling too hard. And then when I raise them up, they have some slack left in them. So that's why they're being a little bit wiggly right now. Now also in this setup, I have one heat mat. I've never had one before. I've never used one before. I bought this one this year. This one is 9 by 19 inches, so it will fit a 10 by 20 tray on it. I only have one, and I'll plug it into the power outlet when it's time to be used. Also, I have an oscillating fan here so that I'll be able to set the fan blowing on my baby seedlings so that they can grow nice and strong. On the top of the shelving unit, I'm currently storing my capillary matting for my self-watering containers and an extra tabletop grow light that I bought last year, but I ended up not liking it very much. So it's up there. It still works. I'm not using it right now. I may put it to use sometime this season. I don't know. And then on this shelf, if I need the room, I'll add more lights to this shelf. I would have to buy those. I only have enough for 2 shelves worth this year. But if I need to, I can go to the home improvement store and buy some more shop lights and install them, just like I did the ones on the lower shelves. But right now, this is where I'm storing my seeds. And I was really lucky because we also had this metal shelving unit that I think we've had this since the day we got married. I think it came out of my husband's parents' garage the day we moved into our apartment. Don't you love it when your kids take your stuff? I loved it when I was a kid and took stuff. So on this shelving unit, I've got my seed starting trays and cell packs here. I also bought some new deep root trainers this year. I'll be doing snapdragons. Nope. I'll be doing sweet peas. Yeah, sweet peas in root trainers for the first time ever. I have my makeshift soil sifter that I put together last year just using hardware cloth and a bottomless seed tray. And then I have just some more cell packs over here. So these are the things I'll be putting my seeds into. And then above here, these are containers that I've got ready for more winter sowing. These all came from the Dollar Tree over either last year or this year. And plus I have one set of 3 of these stackable containers that the Dollar Tree is carrying right now. Last year I had 3 of them. I bought 3 more for this season. I'm not sure what I'm going to be putting in here. Probably herbs. That's what I did last year and it worked pretty well. On the lower shelves, I've got, these are my Gardener's Supply self-watering containers. There's 4 of the self-watering seed tray systems here. Again, the capillary mats are up above the other side. And then just some watering supplies here. I've got a pitcher, I got a spray bottle. This came from the Dollar Tree. It's a great place to get gardening supplies, I think. Also from the Dollar Tree, I picked up yesterday some $1.25 snips and floral shears. I know they're not going to last forever, but you know, for $1, they'll last half a season and then it'll be fine. Also from the Dollar Tree yesterday, I picked up this measuring cup with a handle, and I figured I could use that for scooping soil. And also for scooping soil, I got this set of scoopers. I figured this came from the kitchen area and this came from the party supply area. I figured between the 3 of them, that should be pretty good for scooping soil. Got some drop cloths, got some peat pots, got some fish fertilizer, and some sticky traps. And then down here, this is some of last year's plant tags. All of these came from the Dollar Tree. These 3 wire baskets I'm planning to fill with coconut coir and make little Easter flower arrangements in them. And this is a colander from the Dollar Tree that I thought, well, I'd try that for for soil sifting and see how that works. Here's some inexpensive, low grade, but probably sufficient cocoa liners for those wire baskets. And then I picked up some more of those plastic trugs. I have, I think, 3 or 4 of them already, and I just got some more because you can never have enough containers. Random containers here. These are, what are those? Those are caladium corms that I'm storing. And then soil down on the bottom. The last little bit of my setup here is a folding table. I just set this up. It's 2x4, so it's the same size as these shelves. And it folds up for storage. And I won't be keeping this up because this is right in front of the door from the basement to the garage. So this is a really convenient place for me to have my seed starting because the garage is right there, and I'll be able to, when it's time to harden off things, I'll be able to take them in and out so much more easy than when they were on the far corner of the garage last year. This table I'll be using for doing work, like when I do my seed starting, I'll do it on this table. When I'm record keeping and things like that. I brought my laptop down. I don't keep my laptop here. And then I have my seed starting schedule and my journal here. So I'll be able to keep this down here and take my laptop back upstairs, fold the table up, and just set it right over here when it's not in use. How could I forget to mention, I've got a thermometer here. I got this at the Dollar Tree also, and consistently our basement stays between 55 and 65 degrees depending on what's going on, how the weather is outside. So it's a great environment down here for starting seeds. I'm really eager to get some seeds into trays under the lights. But honestly, like I said in my winter sowing video, I'm kind of hoping that I'll do more winter sowing than interior seeding because of the care that it takes to keep seeds going indoors. But I think that some seeds are just better to do indoors than in the winter sowing. And the ones I mean are the ones that love heat. I recently posted on my community tab a list of seeds that can be started via the winter sowing method. The only thing is, in fact, according to that list, anything can be winter sown as long as it's not truly a tropical plant. So things like zinnias and cosmos and geraniums and sunflowers and things like that, you can winter sow all of those. The only problem with winter sowing those things is that it really doesn't give you any advance on the growing season. A lot of us who start things indoors, we're doing it because we want big, healthy plants by the time it's time to set them out into the garden. Winter sowing on the heat lovers, you really shouldn't be starting those in the winter sowing containers until about 2 or 3 weeks before your last frost. Otherwise, they'll just rot and they won't germinate. And by the time you start them that way and then they get underway, they germinate, they grow a little bit, they're really not all that far ahead of what it would have been if you had just direct sown into the garden 2 or 3 weeks later. So the advantage of winter sowing, to me, isn't as big for things that are heat lovers, for the tender annuals later in the summer. So I'm going to concentrate my winter sowing stuff on the cool annuals, cool season annuals, and perennials. So anyway, but you can do whatever you want. Like I said, that list shows all the different things that can be winter sown successfully. I just think that it's better to do stuff that will get you ahead. So the indoor sowing is for things that I want to be a nice healthy size on the day that I set them into the garden and not have to wait for them to grow up like they would from direct seeding. So I'm just impatient is what it is. So anyway, so that's what I'm doing here today. I will get this video out to you probably tomorrow, but later today I'm going to be starting some seeds and I'll certainly video all of that for you as well. I hope you enjoyed a tour around my seed starting setup. I'd love to hear from you. What are you doing for seed starting this year? Are you doing exclusively winter sowing? Are you doing exclusively indoors? If so, what does your setup entail? How did you put it together? And are you even doing any seed starting? Some of us don't. In fact, a lot of us don't, and that's totally okay too. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. I hope that you'll come back, maybe subscribe, and follow along with us on our gardening season for 2022 here at Harmony Hills Home and Garden. Have a wonderful day, friends, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye.